Hello, wealth tycoons. When you hear Jeff Bezos' name, you immediately think of Amazon, right? However, Jeff Bezos' name is attached to another fancy name, Blue Origin, a company that aims to make getting to space simple and affordable. Blue Origin has existed for more than a decade, and it has contributed to space exploration and science in a variety of ways. With its cutting-edge technology, they have also assisted NASA. Clearly, SpaceX is not the only private enterprise venturing into space. Blue Origin has appeared to be a good competition. With amazing Goddard, New Shepard, New Glenn, and much more, Blue Origin has given a clear statement that they are here to stay. From the positive things Blue Origin did to the negative things others stated about the firm. We are going to have a look at Blue Origin closely today. So, let's get started. Jeff Bezos has kept Blue Origin a secret since the beginning. When he founded the company in 2000, there were only a few employees. He wanted to keep things quiet, and he was so effective at it that when he survived a plane accident, no one knew he had been hunting for land to use as a rocket launch site. Blue Origin has advanced far more slowly than competitors such as SpaceX, despite having been in the space race for years. They can take their time because they can afford to. Every year, Bezos invests $1 billion of Amazon stock in Blue Origin. This means he will never run out of money. Some SpaceX employees believe that the company's consistent supply of cash has made it less driven. Blue Origin does not appear to be in as big of a hurry as SpaceX, which is constantly seeking to achieve milestones and secure government contracts. Their desire to keep things private may be another factor for their delayed growth. SpaceX is more forthcoming about its development and works tirelessly to obtain orders from NASA and the military. Blue Origin, on the other hand, remains more secretive and is not as competitive. Some believe that this has reduced their determination to move their products ahead. When Blue Origin came into existence, they came with an advanced rocket with a well-thought-out name. Their first genuine rocket, Goddard, was named after Robert Goddard, one of the pioneers of modern rocketry. It was not a large spaceship, but rather a modest test rocket, powered by 9 tiny peroxide engines. It's almost like a warm-up for bigger things to come. The goal was to demonstrate that Blue Origin meant business when it comes to spaceflight. Goddard retired in 2006 following its maiden safe flight. However, Blue Origin was not finished yet. The second launch, New Shepard, was much more significant. It was named after Alan Shepard, the first American to travel into space. Alan Shepard entered space in 1961, but he did not complete a full orbit around the Earth. It was only a fast trek up and down. New Shepard is predicated on a short excursion below orbit, providing people a taste of space before returning them to Earth. New Shepard is powered by a single BE-3 rocket engine, which burns liquid hydrogen and oxygen. It is 59 feet tall. Alan Shepard flew on the Jupiter Redstone rocket, which was 83 feet tall. New Shepard is much shorter, but it offers many more features. After all, short houses design space for big dreams. One of its most impressive features is the crew pod on top. It includes large windows that let passengers enjoy a stunning view of Earth from space. So far, New Shepard has flown 14 times, but mainly for testing purposes. No human got a chance to travel on this fancy flight. The crew capsule was on several missions, but instead of real astronauts, a mannequin named Mannequin Skywalker was sent up. It was a treat to Star Wars fans. It has sensors on board to determine how safe it is for future guests. Moreover, New Shepard 4 was launched in January 2021. That mission was the final test before Blue Origin's historic maiden trip into space with a human. Also, guess what? Aside from Jeff Bezos, 3 other people were on board. Their mission was scheduled for 9 a.m. on July 20th, a date chosen for a cause. It has been 50 years since Apollo 11 landed on the moon. However, Blue Origin has an interesting story with NASA's Apollo 11. As you might remember that in 1969, 5 massive rocket engines helped launch Apollo 11, which landed people on the moon for the first time. However, as soon as they lifted flight, these engines plunged back to Earth and into the Atlantic Ocean. They sat at the bottom of the ocean for more than 40 years, Because NASA had no plans to retrieve them. Because NASA didn't have any affection for those tools. Moreover, NASA didn't need it anymore. Then, in 2011, Amazon's founder, Jeff Bezos, decided to look for the lost. He set out with his research business, Bezos Expeditions, to find the missing engines. A year later, his team stated that sonar equipment assisted them in locating them deep down, but that wasn't all they needed to do. They also needed to get them back up. The engines differed from other machines. Each one burned 6,000 pounds of fuel per second and generated 1.5 million pounds of electricity. After only 165 seconds of flight, they broke off and crashed back to Earth, sinking 2.6 miles beneath. They played a critical role in the successful launch of Apollo 11. In 2013, Bezos' crew embarked on a perilous attempt to retrieve the goods. They spent 3 weeks at sea and employed remotely operated vehicles, which are underwater robots, to descend 14,000 feet to the ocean floor. It's difficult to control these robots from the ground up because they require miles of fiber optic connections and hundreds of volts of power, far more than a car does. Bezos was astounded by how much deep-sea research and space exploration were alike. He considered the moon's surface as he watched the ROVs cruise across the black, colorless ocean. The engines were severely damaged, but the team was able to salvage enough parts to build 2 complete F-1 models. After being repaired, they would be stored as a memorial to the Apollo program. Despite all of this labor, the engines remain NASA's property. One is anticipated to visit the National Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C., but the space agency will determine where they go. Bezos hopes the second one will go to the Museum of Flight in Seattle, where both Amazon and his space firm, Blue Origin, are headquartered. These engines, which help send astronauts to the moon, were lost in the water for decades before a millionaire and his team discovered and returned them to the surface. Sounds like a good portfolio gig for Blue Origin. Enjoying the video so far? You can appreciate our efforts by giving this video your priceless like. It is enough to keep us moving. Back to Blue Origin now. Blue Origin is entering the heavy lift rocket business with the launch of its New Glenn rocket. This rocket is designed to compete with big names in space travel, such as United Launch Alliance's Vulcan and SpaceX's Falcon Heavy. This rocket competition is mainly about how much weight it can launch into space. New Glenn, like SpaceX's Falcon 9, is a single-stick rocket with reusable first-stage boosters. The first component of the rocket can fall and be reused, which saves money. A lot rests on New Glenn's first launch. Their primary goal is to lift off safely from the ground. The rocket should also be located in the Atlantic Ocean. This would be a great plus. For the time being, all they want to do is demonstrate that this rocket can fly and complete its mission. This is critical since New Glenn will most certainly play a significant role in future Mars missions as well as national security flights. The New Glenn rocket's 2 stages separate while in flight. It is also designed to be utilized repeatedly in the future. The rocket stands 98 meters tall and has a payload shell 7 meters wide. This is the section that houses items like satellites. John Glenn was a well-known pilot and a member of the original Mercury 7. The rocket is named after him. His trip on the Friendship 7 spaceship in 1962 made him the first American to complete a circumnavigation of the Earth. After more than 50 years, Glenn penned a message to Jeff Bezos, the founder of Blue Origin, shortly before he died in 2016. After that, he informed Bezos how proud he was of his Smithsonian American Ingenuity Award and thanked him for giving the rocket its name. When Bezos unveiled New Glenn in 2016, Glenn expressed hope. "I see a day coming when people will board spacecraft as easily as they board planes today, and it will be because of visionaries like you." This year, it's clear how Blue Origin's New Glenn rocket and SpaceX's Falcon 9 are improving reusable rockets. As of January 10th, SpaceX had safely landed 396 Falcon 9 rockets, with 316 of them landing on ocean-based drone ships. Furthermore, Blue Origin is making progress. Their landing platform, a ship dubbed Jacine, named after Jeff Bezos' mother, has left Port Canaveral after 4 months to assist with New Glenn's inaugural flight. Blue Origin CEO Dave Limp stated that the landing pad on Jacine is 200 feet wide, similar to the one utilized for their smaller New Shepard rocket. The goal is to land the massive 188-foot-tall booster on it, but they are aware that the first attempt may not be ideal. The booster lands and a robot named Rove takes command. Rove is roughly the size of a Ford F-150 truck, and it connects to the booster to provide power, communication, and other critical assistance. It also ensures that the booster is steady on the return flight. When the booster returns to Port Canaveral, workers gently tilt it horizontally with a giant crane and special lifting gear before transporting it to the facility for repairs. Blue Origin produced 7 BE-4 engines that power New Glenn's rocket, known as GS-1. These engines were originally manufactured in Kent, Washington, but the majority of their production has now migrated to Huntsville, Alabama. Blue Origin not only manufactures these engines for its own rockets, but also sells them to United Launch Alliance for the Vulcan rocket. ULA's CEO, Tory Bruno, stated that the BE-4 engines on New Glenn and Vulcan are nearly identical. However, New Glenn's engines have a different ignition system because New Glenn is powered by liquefied natural gas and liquid oxygen. The LNG tank stores 224,000 gallons of fuel, while the LOX tank holds 187,000 gallons of liquid oxygen. Each of the 7 engines generates 550,000 pounds of push, for a total of 3.9 million pounds of thrust, more than twice the power of the Falcon 9, but less than the Falcon Heavy, which generates 5.1 million pounds. After years of testing, Blue Origin successfully powered all 7 engines on December 27, 2024. The New Glenn rocket's first stage booster shuts down its engines 3 minutes after launch and separates from the upper stage. To prepare for landing, a reaction control system at the top of the launcher allows it to turn around while in space. Blue Origin shared a test of these thrusters, as well as 4 enormous guiding fins that aid in rocket descent control in August 2024. These fins are approximately 16 feet wide and extend 6.5 feet from the rocket's fuselage. The thrusters are contained in the forward module, which is largely built of aluminum and coated with Comet, a Blue Origin invention that also protects the landing gear. The landing legs on New Glenn differ from those on the Falcon 9. Unlike Falcon 9, which has 4 legs that fold out, New Glenn has 6 legs that remain inside the rocket until right before landing. When these legs strike the ground, they can withstand more than 150 tons of force, which is equivalent to the weight of 2 fully loaded Boeing 737 aircraft. As the booster approaches 9,000 feet above the water, it fires 3 of its 7 engines again to slow down. This begins the landing sequence. About 20 seconds into the burn, 2 of the 3 engines shut down, leaving only the center engine to complete the final landing burn. 6 seconds before touchdown, the landing legs extend to absorb impact. Jeff Bezos stated that New Glenn's boosters are designed to be used up to 25 times. Blue Origin has not confirmed if they would use the first booster, dubbed Soyor, telling me there's a chance. However, if the landing goes well, there is a high probability it may fly again. To ensure that everything runs properly, Blue Origin is applying what they learned with their smaller rocket, New Shepard. On its second flight in 2015, New Shepard successfully launched and landed. Since then, it has conducted 28 missions, 9 of which included people on board. Blue Origin is leveraging what they learned from New Shepard to help them create New Glenn, which is significantly larger and designed for longer voyages into orbit rather than shorter ones. New Glenn is a 2-stage rocket. The lower section, known as the booster, provides the rocket with the power it needs to take off and subsequently returns to Earth to be reused, similar to New Shepard. The top stage, on the other hand, is launched into space and propelled by 2 BE-3U engines. These engines are designed for space and run on liquid oxygen and hydrogen, each delivering up to 173,000 pounds of thrust. The upper stage is currently not reusable, meaning it will not return to Earth following launch. But Blue Origin intends to change that. In 2022, They filed a patent for a reusable upper stage that would use a unique heat shield and land vertically, lowering the rocket's long-term cost. The payload fairing is a protective casing that sits on top of New Glenn. It is 72 feet tall and constructed of carbon composite material. To ensure that it works, Blue Origin tested it in NASA's largest vacuum chamber, which simulates space conditions. The rocket carries Blue Ring Pathfinder for the NG-1 mission. This system provides power, communication, and flight control. The full version of Blue Ring will be able to transport up to 6,600 pounds. A 300-foot-long wheeled assembly weighing more than 4 million pounds transports New Glenn to the launch pad before launch. Once there, 4 hydraulic arms pull it into position and deposit it on a steel launch platform weighing 1.7 million pounds. Everything has to operate flawlessly to ensure that the rocket is stable and ready to launch. Blue Origin will launch 12 missions each year, with the ability to send up to 3 missions every month if necessary. New Glenn will play a crucial role in several major space programs, including Amazon's Project Kuiper satellite launches, NASA's Escapade Mars mission, and the Blue Moon lunar lander, which will aid NASA's Artemis program for future moon exploration. To compete for space contracts with the United States government and military, New Glenn must achieve rigorous safety and performance standards. Blue Origin received a launch license from the FAA in December 2024, allowing it to use its launch location for another 5 years. The first few launches will be critical for demonstrating that New Glenn is dependable and ready for frequent missions. If all goes well, it might become a major factor in future satellite launches and deep space missions. Like most of the growing companies, Blue Origin too made its share of mistakes. Like many companies, Blue Origin was also called out for their wrongdoings. But what did they do? Well, many people have stated negative things about Jeff Bezos' space enterprise, Blue Origin, throughout the years. One of the most serious issues was the layoff of over 1,400 employees, accounting for almost 10% of their total workforce. They claimed it was to focus on launching rockets more frequently rather than research, but losing jobs is never good news, and many people wondered if this was truly about saving money or if there was anything else going on in the background. Adding to this chaos, then there's workplace turmoil. In 2021, some former Blue Origin employees stated that the organization was not a safe place to work and that speed and competition took precedence over safety. That's a significant charge, particularly for a firm that takes people into space. Many others questioned whether they had cut corners where they shouldn't have. In 2024, Blue Origin faced criticism for how they handled astronaut Emily Calandrelli's situation. She had an emotional and passionate reaction to going to space, which they shared on film. But the internet is a terrible place, and she received a lot of sexist and hateful remarks. Instead of sticking up for her, they removed the video. Many people thought that was the wrong thing to do because they were silencing her instead of addressing the true issue. There have also been technological issues. Their highly anticipated New Glenn rocket was scheduled to launch in early 2025, but it had to be canceled at the last minute due to a malfunction with one of its subsystems. This isn't the first time they've encountered troubles. Their new Shepard rocket failed during its flight in 2022. These difficulties have some wondering if Blue Origin can compete with competitors like SpaceX, whose operations appear to run much more smoothly. After knowing everything about this company, do you believe Blue Origin will beat SpaceX? Share your opinions in the comments section below. If you want us to cover any particular business, mention that in the comment section. We will take it from there. You can also check out our pre-existing video for better business understanding. If you enjoyed the movie, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.